Is this all right? Oh, sorry. I'm tweaking this. You might want it like that way. In any case, I was going to say you probably want there'll be trains going by every like 3 or 4 minutes, so you probably want some trains going by anyway, room tone wise. There is something about, going into that space, that theater, whether it's a play or a movie, and sitting down, the lights go down. It's not something you are actually in charge of. You go in, and in a way it's a very sort of passive thing. You go in and you're taken care of. Yeah, that probably was my first film that I remember, actually. Now I think about it, Mary Poppins, yeah. The drive-in theater, the main thing is really about the people you collaborate with. I'm very careful about who I let into my circle. For me, it's like getting married. You have to really trust the people you're working with. I've been wrong a lot, and I sort of celebrate that in a strange way. I make mistakes, and I know there's certain scenes that I would have taken out of my films, but my editor or my co-directors, really wanted those scenes in. Those scenes are wonderful, and I'm so glad they're in. I'm so glad I was wrong. It's difficult to balance everything out, and it's difficult to, have. I always say it's usually there's 3 things. There's work, play, and love. Your friends, your significant other, your relationships, and your family, and then the work. And usually at any particular time, I can only make 2 of those things work, if I'm lucky. 1 usually falls by the wayside, which is unfortunate, but I haven't been able to figure out the way to make all 3 work at the same time. Sometimes it's more important to have a camera person there and to be present and to be, and just not to be worrying about that. It's something I struggle with quite often because I like to shoot. I'm not great at it, but I like to do it. But when I'm directing, especially someone or some situation that's very sensitive, it's much more important for me to be totally present. So it's hard. Sometimes I don't know what to do. I just make a decision, hope for the best. It's okay for me to be filming and for it to jiggle around a little bit. I mean, that's life, Life isn't this beautiful, beautiful Hollywood shot. That's not real life. Sometimes it's knowing when to turn the camera off, when to turn the camera on. Sometimes it's not having a camera around at all. A lot of times, actually, it's about just spending time with somebody. And yeah, I get people saying all the time, "Oh my God, the camera was off, and there was this amazing moment, and then I turned the camera on. I tried to get that moment again, and it was gone, and I never got it." And yeah, you have that desire to capture every single moment on film, but if the moment's there, if that feeling and the emotion is true, even if the camera's off, if you're patient, it might not be that day, it might not be that week, but at some point it'll come back and it'll be stronger. But you just have to be patient and trust yourself that, okay, just because I didn't catch it now doesn't mean I won't catch it later. If you go into a project, if you care about it enough to really take that leap, then there's something there for you. If you're doing it for the right reason, then there is something there for you, and that's a really important thing to hold on to. And stick with that faith that this is important enough for me to go through all the pain and suffering and the difficulties that will lie ahead, because it'll be tough. But in the end, if you stick with it and you're persistent, it'll work out. It's a hard thing to believe, but you sort of have to. You have to believe it.